Hi, this is Elliot Fishman, and welcome all of you to our latest Facebook Live. And you can see, if I bend this thing correctly, you can see it's CT, your animal friends. And I guess they look like friendly little animals. But first, I guess I cannot, I guess nobody could speak today without talking about the things going on in the world. I think the coronavirus thing, I think each of us, kind of looks at it in many ways the same, and we look at it both personally for our families, our children, grandchildren, our friends, and then our profession taking care of our patients. And obviously there's a lot of information. We posted a lot of it on CTisus, the ACR, RSNA, AMA, you name it, has been very good about putting information up there. It's a constantly changing process. Remember, a week ago, everyone was saying do CTs instead of blood tests. Now the ACR yesterday made the point, get the blood test, don't do CT. Challenge, of course, CT. You saw the first articles, very nice examples of pneumonia, viral pneumonia, but it's like almost any pneumonia. Most people who have a cold now, have just a cold. It's the winter as we go into spring. So we can't make light of this by any way, any means. It's really, this is the, in some ways, one of the challenges of our generation. There's no doubt about it. And I think, we could have prepared better. We can go through all of the could have been, should have been, but I think as professionals, we're all going to do the right thing. We're going to, hopefully this will pass. I mean, you look at some of the data from South Korea, the peak and the drop. So we need to hope that that's how we see things in the U.S. as well. And we hope that, again, the numbers, that it's just the bad cold and then a few people, and we need to make sure that the people who are most susceptible to problems are really taken care of. So I think our prayers are with everybody. I think, everyone's written us notes about things, including how do you prepare the rooms in between. I think one of the things you need to know is a difference in different hospitals depending on and how your rooms are situated, or what's the air filtering and everything else. But what do you do for a patient who has the coronavirus, or rule out coronavirus, where you need to prep the room between patients? How do you do it? Some people have dropped us notes that at their hospital it takes 8 hours, which means they can do 3 patients a day. And in the ER setting, we have other patients. How do you balance all this? It's not a trivial thing. So I think you need to know, how do you do it in your hospital? So I think all of those things are very site specific. We can't come up here and give you a way and say, okay, we do this, this, and this, because you may not have that equipment. You may not have HEPA filters, how it's done, how your air filtering is done. Every place is different. So I think we need to be really careful of that. There's just so much we don't know. Is it safe to travel? Can you drive in a car? Can you go on a plane? Can you go to Orlando? I'm not saying go to Europe, obviously. Can you go to Orlando? Every meeting's been canceled. Our next meeting is the end of May. I'm hoping, maybe against hope, that we'll be able to have that meeting and it'll be successful, and that will be safe, and things will be good. But I can't say that, nor will I try to say that. I know one day this week I had like 9 meetings canceled. It's just, everyone is being careful on the side of caution, and whether it's the fact that we need to really think about every little step we do, and how long this is going to last, and everything else is just going to be somewhat difficult. And I do, hopefully everybody is going to stay safe, and hopefully we will be able to meet this challenge, as I know all of you can. And if anyone has ideas, suggestions, questions, just drop us a note. In that note, I was going to have a light topic today. One of the things we've done at Hopkins for probably 30 years, I remember way back when with Michael Stoskopf, we've scanned animals. Sometimes we scan animals after they've passed away to just learn. Sometimes we scan animals, particularly from the Baltimore Aquarium, which is the National Aquarium, when they have problems, trying to figure out what's going on, and then we work with the vets there who are just terrific, trying to solve problems, whether it's a foreign body. When there was Hopkins 24/7, we diagnosed a turtle with bowel obstruction. We found a ball, and there used to be open cages, the big water thing in the aquarium, and someone threw one of those balls they sell in the aquarium. The turtle swallowed it and obstructed the bowel. We've scanned an octopus, I remember scanning with Michael Stoskopf way back when. And the octopus, it was dead, but it kept moving because octopuses keep moving for hours and hours. They don't stand still. We've scanned sharks, and we've scanned many different fish. We've scanned birds. We've scanned turtles. We've scanned snakes. And if you go to CTisus and you go to the teaching file page, there's a veterinary page, and we have many different animals there with really good CT images. We've done things like the skink, right? You can see here's just some pictures. That's in plastic. Let me take it out. Where we do cinematic rendering, the first cinematic rendering of a skink, okay? Looking at the anatomy. We've learned, and I'm just going to show you some examples in no specific order. We've done lots of work with turtles, looking at turtles and looking at their lungs, looking for pneumonia, okay? Look how nicely we can see turtle lungs and airways. Look at that. It looks as good as we can on a person. So we do that. We've done that, and we do it as it's not as a joke or a lark. We actually are trying to help animals. We found this was a turtle, and the white thing is not supposed to be there. I diagnosed bad esophagitis with some foreign matter, which at first glance they couldn't find, but the patient had a really bad stricture. Unfortunately, this turtle did not survive. It was one of those turtles that was found and was doing poorly, and they were trying to do, trying to save it. And again, you can see, I'm just opening these up in no special order. The turtles, look at the airways. You can see, look at the trachea. You wonder how the turtle head goes in and out, has lungs. Well, that's the point, that it's able, the trachea is very, very flexible. Look at it bending here. So we've looked, I've diagnosed pneumonia, we did a sloth, we diagnosed sinusitis, and in fact, we had a skink with infection, and it was Snotty is his name, but he had a frontal sinusitis, and we've actually rescanned him, and he was better after treatment. And we had another skink that also had sinusitis. And here's another one where it was a question of sinusitis, but you see the frontal sinuses look really good. So we have learned a lot. We've done things like snakes. We did a mill snake, and again, we showed it on CTisus. Look at all those ribs. Rib number 87 on the right has a fracture. Not exactly, but it's amazing the kind of detail you can get. And I once spoke a couple years ago at a veterinary meeting, and the vets, whether it's plain film or it's CT or MR, use all of those things on different animals, whether it's ranging from turtles, as in this case, to racehorses, very expensive racehorses, in fact, to cows, to things like that. We did a dragon, a bearded dragon. Okay, it was a small dragon, but there it is right there with a questionable mass, which looked fine. So we did not do that. That's the aquarium now calling me about some dragon or something, but no, not exactly. Here is, so we've done a lot of things like that. So it is one of the things we do after hours. The techs stay around, and then I reconstruct it after. So in some ways, we learn a lot. We try to be helpful. It's just one of the things we try to do. Here's some more turtles with airways. Anyone wants to write a paper on turtle airways? I learned that the airways look different in turtles, depending on the species of turtle it is, how the bronchi branch, things like that. We've looked at lizards. Here's a lizard. Okay, look at those lizards right there. Okay, again, pretty impressive. Okay, so, well, you can look at the lizard, look at the face, right? Pretty good. So we do the animals. I will say, dealing with the vets, they're just incredibly professional people, and I think we really do make I think we do help. I think we do help. So if you're in an area where CT can be helpful for animals, an animal hospital, though, again, veterinary radiology is its own subspecialty. It's indeed very impressive. So that part's pretty exciting. And so we do some of that. We have done, some of you know, we did National Geographic. We did the Inca maiden. That was a mummy that was found high in the Andes. And we diagnosed the fact that it was killed by a blow to the head because it had a skull fracture with a subdural hematoma. Remember, it had been frozen for thousands of years. We did way back when with Ralph Rubin and Bob Drebin, we did in the Pixar days, we did basically a human being who prior to autopsy, we scanned with permission, head to toe, created 3D images showing what 3D could do. I remember it took about 8 hours to scan. It took about 5 days to process. Bob Drebin used a bunch of Pixar computers to create the images, and there's an article in AJR, that was 1988. Scanning from head to toe, we can do that in 30 seconds or 20 seconds now. There was 8 hours, and it was 4 millimeters every 3, not 0.75 every 0.5. And I can process that on my iPhone now in real time. So things have really changed in that regard. So it is something we do, something we like. Now, if anyone has any questions, I see Meg Fines, excellent topic. Meg left us, it's in New Jersey, and John Biacchino is one of our senior techs, is Mace Chapel, which is where he lives, which is just outside of Baltimore and Timonium. So say hi to those guys. Other things to talk about this week, I think on the positive side, we have some new apps on the App Store. We had this app that Hannah Recht did with Lily and Sarah and Hannah on the anatomy of the chest, looking at the muscles and the bone and the heart and the airways using cinematic rendering. We had it as an exhibit at the RSNA. Unfortunately, it didn't win any prizes. We were robbed. But then we produced it into an iPad version, which is really ideal because of the iPad size. But many of you have asked us to have it on an iPhone, since many people are carrying their iPhones around all the time and their iPads not so often. So the iPad version was accepted last night by the Apple Store, and it's on the Apple Store today. You can download it. So it's a really good app. It teaches you anatomy, again, arteries, veins, airways, muscle, bone. Then there's a quiz which allows you to take the quiz and be challenged on that. So that's a really good app. And whether you're a radiologist, a radiology resident, technologist, is something that I believe is valuable to all of you and to all of us. And I think it's really well done. We're sitting around thinking about what our next app should be, perhaps do a very similar thing in the pelvis, focusing on the muscle and bone. How many of us have not looked at a pelvic CT with a finding and then trying to remember what muscle you're looking at and you bring it up? We all know the muscles, but sometimes you don't know it as well as you think you do. So that's something I think we're going to work on, trying to get somebody to do it with me. And then that'll be something good for RSNA, hopefully. I think one of the things I'm trying to get people to focus on, with this, the coronavirus, as all of you know, and I'll tell you a thing you don't know, meetings are canceled, schools are canceled. Basically, this is hunkering down. I think when you hunker down, people get depressed, get a little bit claustrophobic. I think one thing to try to do is be productive. I think looking at the walls or just sitting there, not the word moping, but just sitting there in a confined space tends to be difficult for many of us who are able to walk around and go places and do things and are constantly moving, particularly as you know, spring break is coming. Many people went away with their kids or themselves. People who are going to meetings, be it the Rankin-Ray or the ACR or HIMSS or one of the Hopkins courses or Stanford courses or Mass General courses or courses in Washington or Boston, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Colorado, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, but people aren't going to be traveling like they were. So I do try to encourage people to kind of really keep engaged. if you're academic, write some articles, do some research. If you're in private practice and research isn't what your focus is, we have a lot of information on CTisus. The CTisus team is constantly working. We're putting up new teaching files, we're putting up new lectures, we're putting up new case studies, we're putting up new Facebook Live. So we're trying to engage you. If there's something you are concerned about, there's something you're worried about, write to us. We'll try to answer it. We'll still keep the Facebook Live once a week, but if there's something very important or there's something people are asking about that needs addressing, we'll just do it anytime. For us to do a Facebook, it's just not Facebook Live. It's just not that difficult. So we try to have things on a schedule, but you got the question. Hopefully we have the answers, and if we don't have the answers personally, we'll do our best to find the answers and let you know. So that's kind of where we stand right now. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is feeling well, that you and your families are doing okay. And from all of us at CTisus, from myself and our whole team, we hope everybody stays safe. And I am comfortable and confident that we will get through this, all of us together. And with that, I wish you a good day, and we'll see you next time. Catch you later. Bye.